Hello, I am Blair Jones. I'm New York City resident. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I've been living at home, quarantining. I guess that's not the right word. Safe and shelter for over. This is my fifth week now. So I, as you know, New York City apartments aren't that big. I've been making do. I can probably just kind of show you the apartment really quickly. It's not that huge, but it works. Um, and Yeah, I'm happy to, you know, be safe and healthy. And I've been doing a lot of Netflixing. So uh, I'm looking forward to speaking with everyone. And I'm on my phone. So if you see me touching my phone, it's just because I keep getting a lot of push notifications on everything. Um, Other things to show you. This is my dog. He's over being quarantined as well. As we wait for any questions to come through. So I'll see if Bentley. Okay, he doesn't want to be bothered. Um, this is Brooklyn. Um, I I'll go outside for a second. It's quite a cold day, but you can see the city in the backdrop. It's really sad because we're so used to, uh, yeah, we're so used to being in a city. New York is full of culture. It's full of people from all backgrounds, and you come here for the food. I've watched a lot. Ozark. I've watched. I caught up on some of the old seasons of. Gosh, they actually trying to remember. But Ozark, I pretty much binge watched that in a week. And outside of Netflix, there's Prime Video, which has Making the Cut. It's a fashion show. That's been pretty awesome. And then also on Prime, there are a few other shows that I don't even know if I can't remember the titles, but they've been interesting so far. Um, Now my dog is outside doing things. But yeah. What else I can show is this is my workstation. So I'm working from home, and I have this is my setup. Oh, I saw the message, and give me 1 second. What series do I like? Um, huh. Well, I go on my routine. I watch Walking Dead. May not be the best time to watch that now because it's about the apocalypse, but I've been watching it for about 8 seasons now. I also watch Little Fires, which is on Hulu, and that's with Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington. Oh, how many people are following the quarantine? It seems like a lot of people are respecting the quarantine. I think the first couple weeks, to be honest, a lot of people probably did not. Uh, they did, but it I think it's so drastic to tell people to like stand 6 feet apart and you're on a New York train. There's no way to do that. But you could do that if you have patience and you can wait for the next train, or maybe if you look for some of the trains that. Um, okay. another question. But I think you could do that um, if you have patience. But if you have to go to work, it's really impossible to get on a train when people are going to work and stand 6 feet apart because it's such a dense city, and a lot of people use the trains to go to work. A lot of people don't drive cars out here, so I think that was a challenge. I think that people have been following it. The restaurants are closed, like everything is closed. The gyms are closed. They've been closed now for 3 weeks. I think what we've put in place, so what the mayor and the governor put in place, has been working. I just think it's a densely populated city, and yeah, it's been interesting. But I think that it's going down. I just think it's just a dense city. Um, okay, what do I do outside of watching Netflix and Hulu? Right now, I think there's so many things that are provided on whether it's the App Store or whether it's on my computer or it's free. So one of the things I've been doing has been taking Masterclass. It's an app, and it has really accomplished entertainers, writers, script writers, everything, athletes you can possibly think of. So I've been watching and learning from the best. What are the most unexpected changes in life I had to experience because of the pandemic? Well, working from home, it's not that actually is not new for me. I worked remotely before. I think one of the biggest things has been, just having to be cautious. So when I leave the house, I wear a mask. I wear gloves. I have to, you know, protect myself in such a way where I didn't think about it. Now, I always had hand sanitizer. I've always been very aware of just, my surroundings and people coughing, but now it's such on a higher level. How are there consequences if we go out? Fines, warnings from police officers. Yeah, that's starting to happen now. I think the fine is $1,000 if you are outside, and I think it's a gathering of six or more people. I think it actually may be if you're out and you're not 6 feet apart, but I don't see a lot of people outside in groups and clusters. Not anymore. I think maybe 3, 4 weeks ago you may have seen that, but a lot of people have realized how serious this is. Would I would I recommend getting the masterclass subscription? Yes, I do. It's just there's so many great people on there that Anna Wintour is on there. You have so many accomplished, very glad to heal different people. Yeah, I think the doctors, you know, the nurses definitely have stepped up. And we in New York City, we actually have a large group of doctors outside of New York State. So different people have come here from all around the world to help us get a control of this virus. I really appreciate the doctors. I have a few friends that are doctors, and they may not even they're more of like dermatologists, and they've been helping out. So I really appreciate. But it's so many people outside of just the people we think of that make this city, make this world great. So really appreciative of everyone. I think I saw one other message. Oh, what am I doing outside of? I have to answer that question. Outside of, I guess my normal routine, which is Netflixing in masterclass. Uh, Playing games, playing board games, playing Monopoly. I have the Nike app, so that's really cool because they are gifting everyone free workout classes, and some of these classes are premium classes that you wouldn't normally get. And that's been amazing. So I've been trying to work out. You still can go running in the city. You just gotta run by yourself. You can't run in groups. You need to be separated. I wish I could show you my mask, but that it's somewhere in here. Also, I think what is really important is just being Lysol and Clorox wipes. They're very that New York is doing for the homeless. I know they're doing a lot for the homeless and the disadvantaged, people who can't really do for themselves. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I know that they have made sure that they are getting the assistance they need with food, and of the um, a lot of people germs, So I've always had a mask. So now I wear the mask. I've been wearing my mask since, I guess, the beginning of February. Even before there was an incident in New York. I have a lot of friends who live around the world, and at that time, one of my friends lived in Singapore. She lives in Singapore now, and Singapore was hit. And I have a few friends in China. Um, okay, that message came up really quickly. Let me see if I can get back to that message. Hold on 1 second. If that message could be shared again, it just kind of went away. And I apologize. There was an issue with my laptop, so I'm on my phone, but I can move around a little bit more. So if that last message could be shared again. Oh, okay. Do I think because the government can't force people to stay home, is that one of the reasons why coronavirus spread? Um, I, I really don't know, to be completely honest. I think it could be. I think people all over the world, except the places that were afflicted, didn't know how serious coronavirus was. Um, okay, sorry, I'm just looking at messages. Do Am I happy to be at home? I guess so. No, not really. I think there's perks to it, and then this is just too far. But you adapt. So I have been FaceTiming friends. I've been, joining Zoom parties, where a Zoom party, is where a DJ will, have a show, and then he would start DJing, and then everyone joins in, and they start dancing. So that's been fun. So there's things that you can adapt to. What I thought initially was that I live in a building, and my building has a gym, it has a movie theater, it has a rooftop, it has all these great things, and I thought it would be open. Um, and yeah, it's not open. They closed it, and it's been closed for over a month, so that's been tough. When do I think? When will I think the pandemic will end? I don't know. I think we're flattening the curve in New York. I think it will end at some point. I know there may be waves. I'm definitely not a scientist or anyone in the medical field, but I think, or epidemiologist, but I do feel that if we can find a treatment for this, it will definitely end. I'm hoping that we can have a treatment for it, and then some kind of vaccine. Aren't you bored without friends and work during quarantine? Oh, yes, I am. But there's things to do. I am into music. I'm I've been able to produce music a little bit on the side. I never have time to do that because I work. So I have a little more time to do that because I'm indoors and I'm not going to restaurants and I'm not going to museums. So I've been able to do kind of those things. Um, I've actually been playing video games as well, so that's funny. Um, but yeah, it's been great. I think one of the great things. Oh, what do you think when will the global fight against? Oh, how do I think the global fight? Okay, yeah. What will be? I caught some of that message, so sorry about that. It's showing up really quickly and disappearing on my phone. Um, I just think this is a moment for the entire world to really unify and unite and, you know, just join together in fighting a common enemy. Sorry, it's this is what we all should focus on, like as people, saving humanity. I think that's the bigger story for this. What do I think will end the global fight against coronavirus? Okay, when will the global fight end? I think it's just all the countries coming together and being able to join, and just the scientists, the medical community, everyone. Oh, another. I'll answer that. Everyone coming together and being, just. I know we're all part of mankind, so we all need to come together, and we need to focus on what makes us the same, which is that, and stop focusing on differences. So I'm hoping that this will occur for good now. And we have to be aware of these pandemics, because they can wipe out cities, they can have social, economic, ramifications. And it's just, it's very sad. And next, what kind of games do I play? Um, Race car games, they're fun. I like driving race car games. I started playing Fortnite. That's pretty interesting. And I play a pool game, an online pool game. So that's been fun as well. What do I cook, or do I cook? I do cook. um, right now, I am making more of elaborate meals, I guess. So in the morning, it's basic, it's oatmeal. Um, there, there is more sophisticated meals like French macaroons that I like to make. So it just really depends on the day and how much time I want to dedicate to cooking. But it can go from simple, like something like oatmeal, to something that's like a 5-hour process, like French macaroons. I think I do a really good job of making those. Do you watch anime? I haven't watched any anime, but it's on my list of things to do. I used to really be into anime heavily, in my younger years, but not so much now. Uh, there's a restriction in Moscow for people walking their dogs that are 300. Uh, Let me pull that up again. Sorry about that message. Okay. In Moscow, there is a government related restriction for people walking their dogs out. They can't go any further than 300 feet from their apartment block. Is this the same in New York City? Yes. I think there's similar restrictions. I don't really walk my dog that far away from our apartment. I haven't seen anything from my building, but we kind of have to keep in the same distance. You can't go outside of your neighborhood, so to speak. Okay, sorry. There's another one that I missed. Okay, I think I answered all the questions right now. Great. Yeah, I have two laptops, and I did not. Both of them are having connection issues with Skype. So again, I apologize with the phone, but I am able to kind of, I guess, have the city in the background if you can see some of the city. Um, and it's hard to buy the right products, and they raise their prices. Yes, it is hard. very hard to buy the right products right now. There's been a lot of price gouging, and New York has really gone after those people. So I don't see it happen, and the country has as well. I haven't seen anything too high, but that means I haven't seen any. I don't see any of the Lysol or Cloroxes on sale anywhere. They're all pretty much um, like they can't be found. They're out of stock so often. Um, Sorry about that. Checking messages. Where do I live? I live in Brooklyn. Um, Brooklyn is a borough of New York City. It's actually the largest borough in New York. So a lot of people live here. Um, I would say probably, don't quote me on this, maybe 3+ million live here. Almost 3+ million. So it's a huge borough. Uh, and we have great city views and has so much culture. How many people have already become infected with the coronavirus? You know what? It keeps changing every day. I saw something very scary on the news earlier, and it's push notification from the news, right? So they said that New York City or New York State is now more has more infected people than anywhere else in the world. The state does, any other country. So we have more people than any other country. Uh, so that's pretty sad. And it was 150,000 before. Uh, President, yeah, President Trump has promised people that, and I believe people are getting their money from what I've heard. So the $1,000 Corona, I think it may be a little bit more than that, but if you qualify, it depends on your salary. People are able to get that, so that's been great. Um, I think all the assistance has been really needed, and it's really good that they have started to kind of execute some of these relief efforts. I just hope that we can get back to some type of normalcy. I don't know when, but it's been difficult. Yeah, the American government doesn't help me. Unfortunately, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't. The question was, what does the government give? The government helps out certain people, but yeah, I I am not one of those people. I pay a lot of money in taxes, so my taxes help other people. Um, but one of the great things about the U.S., if you lose your job, there's unemployment, um, and if anyone's in that situation, you've been paying taxes, so you'll get unemployment if you ever lose your job in the U.S. Um, do I have any role models during the pandemic? I think Governor Cuomo's been amazing. I think Dr. Falshushi, I think I'm going to mess his last name up, has been great. I think, but Governor Cuomo for me is the governor of New York State. He's just been very direct, but also very human, and just he's giving New Yorkers and Americans just the confidence, just the strength actually to be to be positive. You need someone who's going to tell you the truth, but you also need someone who's going to lift your spirits. And I really appreciate what Governor Cuomo has done. Where am I going to travel to? I don't know. It seems such like a distant. I was supposed to be in Italy in a week. Actually, I'm in Rome. I work for actually in the hotel industry. So we had a big conference in Rome, and then when our hoteliers started to lose a lot of business because of coronavirus in Italy, that conference was canceled. So that trip was canceled. I was going to see my friends the first week of May in San Francisco. That got canceled. So I really don't know if I'm going to even travel. I think once everything is done, I'm going to go see my mom who lives about 6 hours away. Didn't want to go and visit her, even though I haven't been sick. I just, they say you could be a carrier even if you're asymptomatic. So I would probably go visit her. That's probably gonna be my first trip. And that trip is, I probably would drive. I have a car in New York, so I probably would just drive and see her. But for now, I don't know. My first trip would be into Manhattan. How about that? I haven't been into Manhattan in over, I don't know, and it's right there in a long time. A lot of Americans have been buying guns since the start of the pandemic. Does that worry me? Yeah, it does. You know, fear can do a lot to people, but I don't. New York State is not a state where you can bear arms, like in that regard. So I know it's not been happening here. I think in different states it has been. So I think as long as the right people, are, I don't know, have guns, then it's not a big deal. But there's always going to be a small percentage of the population who are buying guns and they shouldn't have guns. So I think that's just a larger issue. But um, I haven't really been thinking too much about the guns as much just because of where I live. What are my favorite movies? How do I get food? Favorite movies. I love a lot of classic movies, so I I have to think about them because I haven't watched them. I've been watching a lot of new movies, and none of them are really my favorite. But I would say there's classic movies like Breakfast at Tiffany's. There's movies like Harlem Nights with Eddie Murphy. There are movies that that are more so some of my favorite movies. Okay, what do I want to do after the terrible thing? Okay. So yeah, I've been binge watching a lot on Netflix, and I have been watching a lot of my favorite movies. But I love all type of movies, and that's probably I would be talking to you forever about my list. But I haven't really been watching a lot of those as of lately. Um, what? Give me 1 second. I'm going to check a couple of the messages that came through. Oh, how do I get food? How do I get food? Okay. Yeah, so I've been an early adopter of like ordering food online, my groceries. So there's several ways to do that. You can use Instacart. It's an app, and they'll bring you food from, certain different retailers. There's also Amazon Fresh. I've been using that for, I don't know. I've been ordering my groceries online for over 10 years now. But I also go to the grocery store. I have a car, so I can go to Costco, which is a big warehouse, and you can buy things in bulk. So I do that once in a while, but with groceries being delivered, it's just been a part of my routine for about at least 10 or 11 years now. So I'm so used to having food delivered, whether it's from Whole Foods, now it's Amazon, or if it's from other grocery retailers, I could get, or Target as well. I can have that. There was another message, and I'm going to go back to it. What do I want to do after this quarantine has been lifted? And go to a restaurant, see some friends, go to the gym. That might be the first thing. If I could go to the gym, I have a gym in my building that we pay for, and so we can't go to it. It's bad, but I would go to the gym and work out. Maybe go to a couple of museums. Go to the park. Uh, go to my rooftop and have a bunch of people over. I don't even know if I would do that because now I think everything has changed for me. Once the restrictions have been lifted, I can't tell you I'm gonna go back and hang out with a lot of people. I think that's changed for me. I think it also makes me question eating in restaurants. If it's tightly packed, do I want to sit beside a bunch of people? I don't know. I don't know. So I think I would probably cook at home a lot more, and maybe selectively go out. But definitely whenever I go out, I'm gonna have this I'm going to have my mask. I don't want to be a part of the population that was never affected and then somehow come in contact with someone who may be sick, or, maybe there's not enough research, and then I'm sick. So I don't want to do that. There was another message. Give me a second. Was it a mistake not to lock down New York completely in the beginning? I I just could say, I can have many thoughts on this, but they thought they knew what they were doing based on the information they had. So I tend not to try to look back and think about the policies of New York State or the country, because it's not going to really change much. I think we're better prepared. I think that's probably all I kind of think about is like, what's next? Because we didn't know that, I guess that the virus could spread this quickly and this easily. Do I know anyone who's got infected with the virus? Yes. I know a lot of people who possibly got infected. My neighbors, they left and went home. They're from another state. They told me that they think they had symptoms of coronavirus. They're doing fine now, but they weren't able to get a test because they're young and they couldn't get a test at the time in the state that they were in. I also have a couple coworkers that got sick. They have now, I think they're completely symptom free, but they were sick. And I know the pastor of my church was sick as well. I heard it's quite difficult to get tested in the US. This is true. It was true. I think there was limited tests initially. I think people can get tests now, but I don't know. I don't know if I would be, if I came down with a virus, if I exhibited symptoms, I don't know if I would get tested. I probably could, but it may make more sense to stay inside unless it's dangerous or I become very ill. Um, I think the test should go to people um, who really need it and are suffering, and may, it may be part of that population that's more susceptible to dying to the virus. So a lot of people that I know have recovered. They're young and they didn't get tests, but they think they got coronavirus because they had respiratory illnesses, but they're fine now. I think obviously you should go get tested if you can't keep your symptoms, if they continue to worsen over time, you probably should get a test. There was another question. Thank you. Happy Easter to you. I am a Christian. Thank you. And what do I think will change worldwide after pandemics? I think pandemics are just something that it seems like this is just the new normal. And they've already, they've existed for very long time, right? There was the 1918 Spanish flu. And I think about that, and I just think we didn't have enough technology, and the world wasn't as global as it is now. I mean, we live in an incredibly global society. I work for a very global company, and you could travel, and, people travel around the world. I know I do as well. So it's just kind of like the likelihood of pandemics happening in the future is very high because we just are in a different society. How does my insurance or Americans' insurance cover issues with coronavirus? It's a good question. My insurance, I think they just pay for the test. They would pay for hospitals stays, hospitalization. I haven't seen anything come from them too much. I think the insurance companies are grappling with this virus. What I do think has happened is that I know that the president has made it mandatory for insurance companies to cover testing of coronavirus. I don't know if there are any treatments as of yet, so they can't really force them to cover treatments. In my opinion, what measures should be introduced to combat COVID-19? Um, I think that's a. I think for certain, there needs to be baseline like uh, sanitary. Cities need to have like sanitation on a, improve their sanitation. So right now, I think the subways in New York City weren't cleaned as often. So they have so much germs. It's like a petri dish. If you walk in there, and you could get really sick. Have ever watched Russian movies and literature? I know I love Russian architecture. I need to, I guess, watch some Russian movies. I have not, but I'm very intrigued by Russian culture, and my company has a few offices in Russia, in Moscow. So I thought I would be traveling at some point, but I think I should probably uh, look into watching some Russian movies. Yes. What are my favorite museums in New York City? Um, well, there's so many museums right now. So there's the Museum of Modern Art. That's in Manhattan. There is a lot of museums of science and technology. I like that museum as well. There is the Guggenheim. There is a museum, a few museums in Brooklyn as well, that have incredible art. And it's really great to just like see a bunch of art from all over the world. So I really appreciate that. Another message came through. Is the Empire State Building one of the most best buildings in New York City? I think so. I think it's iconic. I believe it embodies just kind of New York City. It's an iconic building. New York is constantly building their skyline, so there's just so many buildings that are being added to it right now. But I think I love the Empire State Building, especially since after 9/11, the Twin Towers are no longer standing, and so I think that really embodies New York. Can I show my view from my window? Yeah, I can go outside. Give me one sec. Oops. Not that. Wasn't able to switch my camera around, but I wonder if this is. Just see from the corner, there's the Empire State Building. Yeah. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm so used to using FaceTime and Zoom that I forgot how to use Skype. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna go back to the messages. Are you a New Yorker? What makes New Yorkers different from Californians? People from New Jersey? I'm I'm from Virginia, so I'm not really a true New Yorker. I am I'm from Virginia, and I live in New York, so I really feel like I embody the New Yorker spirit. But I think New Yorkers are, in general, are just kind of people with a direct, and they know what they want uh, in life, typically. and they're not about they're about being very genuine. So I think New Yorkers are a little bit different, but they're very similar. It's just they have an accent. I think New Yorkers also are exposed to so many different cultures, so they're a little bit more worldly than some other places in the U.S. There's someone from every country in New York. I mean, there's neighborhoods where there are people from all over the place. My building has, I don't know, everyone from the world. So, I mean, I think it's just their exposure. What are my hobbies? Uh, well, I would say I love writing, so I'm into script writing. I write screenplays when I have time, and then I also like to produce music. Those are my two biggest hobbies. I think I work a lot, so hobbies are like work. I I like to build websites. I love marketing. So next question is, which American food do I like? I like I like all food actually. So I don't. My favorite food. I love Mexican. I love Japanese. Um, I have actually love so many. I love Greek food. I love Southern American food. I love Creole food, which is from New Orleans. I love pizza. I'm in New York. Um, and yeah, it could go on and on. There's not one food or one ethnic cuisine that I don't like. I like actually all of them. There was something else that came through. Okay, what's been the support of the government for construction business? I don't know. I think there's several different loans, emergency loans that they've been able to give companies. Some probably are in construction. I haven't seen anything about construction. I know that for the hospitality industry, that there's been a lot of focus on hotels, on the restaurant industry, on the food industry, because those have had direct impacts. You know, people are not staying at hotels because they're not traveling. So the airline industry has been affected as well. I know that the airline industry may have their separate relief package. What type of music do I write? Well, I don't really write. I kind of produce music. So that's what I've been doing. I like to mix different instruments and make a song. Like a music score. So I don't really write music, more like producing music. I missed another one. Any more questions? I think I may have answered them all. I have a lot of plants. You need to keep plants. Plants are always happy. See, as long as you give them the right amount of water. So, have I ever met Alicia Keys or Lady Gaga or any of the musicians from New York? I have not. I've not met Lady Gaga or Alicia Keys. Not yet. I've met some other famous people, but I've not met any Lady Gaga or Alicia Keys. That would be nice. That's what you're not supposed to do, touch your face, but I'm indoors, so it's okay. Do I think about care our, you know, just essentials that daily people need, like telecom or wireless service. I'm really appreciative of that. I think that there's so many people who have been champions of like, I mean, I wouldn't say champions. I would just say they're more or less like heroes. And so they're like part of my heroes. Every person who decided to get up to work so people can have something that's somewhat normal in their life outside of just kind of like the people in the front line because they're risking their lives every day. And the people who are, going to work to have like either for us to have Wi-Fi or for us to have like, water, because or electricity. I mean, they're risking their lives as well. So I'm definitely have so much gratitude for them. One other message came up. Give me one. In New York, do you usually buy a flat or rent it? I guess it just really depends on how much money you have. Like renting and buying are both equally expensive. I'm renting. Buying is something that I would like to do, but the New York real estate market is very, very expensive because you have so many people around the world, and the property values just continue to go up. It's a global city. It's a first. It's just it's a world class city. So I think it's really not difficult, but it's very challenging to want to buy a property that may be small and spend that much money when you can just rent. Renting is not cheap, though. It's very expensive as well. Do I like the online tours of New York City? I haven't been to any of the online tours, but I think they would be great. I mean, I think a lot of companies now, like the museums, I know the MoMA, some of the video installations that they have that you have to actually go into the museum to see, they're being offered online right now for you to watch. So that's something that I want to get into as well. Alvin Ailey as well is like a dance group in Harlem. They have something that you would actually have to wait and actually buy tickets for. That's online. I know the Met, the Opera House in New York City, they're offering a lot of different online, operas that you would have to wait and pay for. So I think that would be great. See a few. What is my favorite sport? I like college basketball, but I don't really have a favorite sport. But sorry, I'm moving around, guys. Sorry. I don't really have a favorite sport. I like tennis. I love Serena Williams. I like watching. Actually, I like going to all live sports. So any sport, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, I like to actually go and see it. But on TV, I'm not much of a fan because it can be very long and boring. But I do watch March Madness, which was canceled this year. We don't really have any sports that are being televised. So I think once things get better, I may become more of a fan. And let me just check one more message. I have one more that I can answer. Okay. How did I move to New York? I lived in Chicago, and I had opportunity with my job, so I moved to New York. Is Harlem as criminal as reported to be? I don't think anywhere is bad in New York, I have to say. The crime rate is at its lowest since, like, I don't know, the 60s, the 50s. It's very low. I'm not sure about any neighborhood. I think overall New York is very safe. It's almost 9 million people or more live here, and the crime rate is very low. It's lower than most American cities that have just a fifth of the population. So it's very safe. So that's a really great thing. And I think that, that's why I don't think crime is happening during this virus. You don't hear about anything like that. It's just, it's not probably the city that people remember from the 1980s or 1970s. It's a very safe city, very expensive city too. Um, but yeah, I guess that was my last question. I want to say thank you to everyone out at the American Center in Moscow. Um, and I hope everyone stays safe and healthy. And yeah. Sorry about the mobile phone. It would have been better on a laptop, but you got to be a little bit more with me in the house. So I appreciate everything, and everybody stay safe. Bye.